What's going on? Saturday, happy Saturday. Just here early planning a big pour for Tuesday. Me and the Jaggermeister, what do you say?
All good.
Jag's got some big ideas for this pour, big ideas. Anyhow, we got about 1,500 yards, that's American for cubic meters, to do this coming Tuesday through the placing boom. So we're gonna have the 38 meter pump tucked in right where that core box is. We have to knock some scaffolding down so we have access for 2 mixers at a time to the pump. And a 47 meter nosed up to where that pole is with the communications lines running from it. So the 47 reaching over into the placing boom, 38 meter reaching into the slab, and cross our fingers so we can get 2 trucks at a time to each of the pumps. It's gonna be really touch and go. So that's why I'm filming this now, because the morning of, A, it'll be pitch black, B, it's gonna be chaotic? I don't want to use that word. Intense. We call it intense. So what do you think? Is it going to work?
Yeah.
Confidence. Wow, not even a hesitation, no doubt, nothing.
This is going to work because they are blocking this lane, right?
Yes.
They are blocking this lane, and we can come out all the way to the lane, and then 38 will be all the way in. I think we'll be having enough.
I think it's probably going to work. The only concern I have is that these 2 mixers hanging out in the road here might trap the inside mixer feeding the second pump. According to my calculations, it'll be really close. So it'll work out though. If it doesn't work out, it's his fault. But yeah, I'll just show you what we're gonna pour here. We are gonna pour. Big old hole in the ground. See, that's about 1,500 yards. So our 38 meter will reach in just a little less than halfway into the big pour, but then the footings are going to carry on back this way. So he'll be able to keep busy enough. But the majority of this is going to be done through the placing boom. It's a 47 meter pump feeding into the placing boom. We were going to extend the pipeline so that we could use a smaller pump. But then we got here, and you see the problem with that. They're building and pouring columns today, so no bueno. Anyhow, it's gonna be great. We'll check back in on the morning of at 4:30 a.m. pitch black on site time for the bumper trucks, so we'll see you then. All right, here we go. Pour day, pitch black, hailing / raining. It's that time. So a little bit of an audible. The setups here, we had to face this 47 meter pump the opposite direction, which kind of sucks for as far as logistics for getting the trucks onto the pumps. Now you got the trucks coming in from 2 separate directions, which is not ideal. The other thing that's not ideal is we've got this thing leveled up as high as we can on the hopper, and we're just barely within 3 degrees of level, which I don't like, especially when booming into the placing boom here. We're gonna have to keep a close eye on this boom all day and watch that it doesn't want to drift downhill there, downslope, as the hydraulics heat cool just through the process of pumping and whatnot. So we're not going to be able to wind this thing out as much as I would like. I know 3 degrees is within the manufacturer's threshold, but I still don't like it. So it is what it is at this point, right? So it turns out it's about 1,300 yards today. So 47 feeding to the placing boom, big old hole in the ground, 38 meter, nice big 5-inch hose on there, thumpa thumpa thumpa, and away we go. So Corey's gonna load a bunch of water in the hopper here.
Yep, sounds good.
And then we'll fill her up with grout. Always put lots of water ahead of the grout. Prevent it from drying on the pipeline, and we'll load her up and thump her through. through yet?
No, not yet.
You're gonna have to pump slow basically all day with how sticky this stuff is.
Yeah.
And being the hopper's high and the hill that we're on, you can't feed it any faster. So either that or they're gonna have to adjust the slump. What we got right now, you basically have to pump it like priming speed. It is what it is. Is it through? Nice. Yeah, that really sucks. We were supposed to be facing downhill today, and then due to several factors, things kind of got changed around on the fly. It'll work, but this is not, it's not ideal, but we'll get her done. Generally speaking, the first few loads are usually drier, so it should get wetter. It's going to need to get wetter, because this stuff is sticky. Specs out at a 7-inch slump, but it looks like about a 4. It's got to be like 45 MPa to look at it. Sticky, icky stuff. We're about a half an hour in, and we got trucks and trucks and trucks and trucks and trucks. Supply will not be an issue today. Maximum pumping speed, however, will. So this first 100 cubic meters has Kim in it, waterproofing agent, Kim Crystal. So it's going to be a lot stickier. And they did just bump the slump up, but once we get out of this first 100 meters, this stuff should flow a lot better. So production will increase. It better. How's this for a view? Not too shabby. So this structure we're working on right now eventually tops out at 8 levels above the street level there. So about the same as the first wing we did right there. This is an addition onto a hospital. So lots of sticky, technical, very scientific concrete mix designs here. So look at this. I got to acknowledge this. Sid spent the day yesterday cleaning up his rig at the yard. Look at them wheels and tires. Got the air tanks too. Nice and shiny. Just the way we like it. Let's go check in with Sid here. What's your pressure at?
18 bar.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
Are they out of the Kim mix, or they just slumped it up?
Maybe just slumped it up.
What does it say, 58 meters an hour or something?
98.
98. Yeah, these meters are such bullshit. It's probably like 75, 80. They always read, they read high. You can adjust that with the fill ratio percentage. Try and get it where you think is actually more accurate. But yeah, this one is definitely reading high. I don't see 98 meters an hour right now, but maybe it's stroking pretty good. Yeah, it's possible, I guess. I still think it's a little optimistic, but definitely one floor where I miss our old 40 meter Z. Essentially the same footprint, same truck as this 38, but it had a legit 8 feet of reach advantage over this. It didn't have that cantilever pedestal, which costs you an extra horizontal meter of reach, because your boom is essentially starting 1 meter further back from the pour area, unless you're going straight vertical, of course. But it would have been really nice to have that extra 8 feet here. Probably would have meant we could have got an extra 80 to 100 cubic meters of concrete through this pump before he's out of reach and he has to pack up. But one of the best pumps we ever had, that old 40Z. I miss you dearly. But I do like this 38 better. All in all around, best pound for pound concrete pump I have ever operated, and hands down. Okay, so Sid had a question. He says, what's the placing boom putting out? To answer your question, 1 stroke every 7 seconds, which equates to about 35 meters an hour. Legitimately, about 35 an hour. And we really can't get much more out of this. As you can hear, Buddy's got his vibrator going non-stop on the chute just to get the mud down it, because our hopper's so high because of the slope. I think when we get out of this kin mix, we'll probably get up to about 45 meters an hour, maybe 50. But yeah, it is what it is. Not much else we can do about it. And also, like I said, because the pump being right at that 3-degree threshold and the boom having a little bit of this to it, I don't want to wind this thing up and have it kicking around, especially when it's tied into a hard line with a double-ended wire braided hose. So we just play the game of the turtle and the hare here. Okay, so I actually use the Apple stopwatch here. 1 stroke every 5.2 seconds. So yeah, we're probably like 40 meters an hour right now, 40 to 45. So we get a good slump, we'll probably get up to 55 to 60. So not too terrible. They're saying it's actually a little under 1,000 meters here. So we get 40, 45 an hour out of this pump. We're getting 70 an hour out of this one. We're out of here in 8 hours, theoretically. So call it 11. Because we all know how that goes. All right, so we are out of the waterproof mix. We're stroking away now. We're probably getting 60 meters an hour. The driver can keep the hopper full. Where is my pipe slapping? Where is my pipe slapping? There it is. It's a problem with just turning the volume up. The drivers never notice. So sometimes I put the RPM up, or get this, here's my idea. I'm going to talk to you about this. A light on the hopper lid with about 7 or 8 LED bars that are green, and one that's yellow, and one that's red. Red is pump off. The green bars, according to how fast you're pumping or where your volume is at, gradually increase, and the orange or yellow bar would be reversed. Right on the hopper lid. How brilliant is that? I said, how brilliant is that?
Good idea.
Right? Until the mixer backs into the lid and smashes it, but someday we will build it, and everyone will buy one, and I'll retire somewhere beautiful and tropical. We can all dream. Gotta love that sound. So a commenter on one of my previous videos had asked, why not use a safety sling from the flex hose onto the hard line? He's actually got a good point. Why not? Typically we just use them from the boom to reducers and hoses which are hanging from the boom. Purpose being obviously that if a coupling or a clamp failed, it's going to catch that stuff so it doesn't fall on somebody. But even in a setup like this, there will be no harm in doing so. So I think we might actually start doing that. Put a sling on here, and then if the clamp ever failed for whatever reason, a situation like this where you've got people around that at least control the hose from whipping. So not a bad idea. Something I think we'll incorporate pretty soon here. So look at that. Sounds like we're out of concrete. We're all caught up. Look at this, I thought I'd take off for a few hours and come back and cut right back to the action. And Sid is already done, folded up and about to back on out of here. So they're actually making pretty good time. I think they've been having good supply all day long here. So. Remember like 5 hours ago when I told you I was going to bring coffee? And then I didn't? It's okay, there's a Tim Hortons in the hospital there. I'll go grab one. Oh no, 40 bucks worth of sponges. Don't let the safety guy catch you doing that. Oh, right in the water too, pre-soaked. Well done. Okay, you can go get your coffee now. Well, how much left to go? Like less than 100 meters? You guys are over 1,000 now?
I could be wrong, but
Supply was good all day? Non-stop? Really? Corey's specialty is giving her. Corey's pump's been broken for about 6 weeks now. You blew up the engine.
No, more than that. December the 10th.
Was it that long?
Yeah.
Yeah, Corey blew up the engine in his pump.
Welfare checks.
Oh man, yeah. And he only runs big pump.
Yeah,
He only runs big pump. So he's been on the bench. This 47 is below you. Yeah. It's okay, lots of line pump jobs tomorrow. Lots of line pump jobs.
Nothing happened tomorrow?
I bought you a present. It's Hyper Foam. What's that?
product for it?
No, it's the only product I would endorse is the Clean Flow Wash and Wax. You know, the yellow powdered stuff? It's by far the best. It's impossible to get now. Yeah, no, right. Yeah, Clean Flow Armor Shield Gold Wash and Wax. If I can find a picture, I'll insert it here. Absolutely the best car wash, but it's tough to come by these days, so we've been experimenting with other brands. Have you got any recommendations for soap for washing the pumps besides dish soap? Something that's nice and sudsy, and if it smells like bubble gum, that's great too. But yeah, leave in the comments below. Taking suggestions for car wash soap for the pumps. Please and thank you. And one thing we got to remember at the end of the day is to pack up our cribbing kit here. We left this on site for our setup for the big booms up top there. It was on quite a off-camber grade. So this is our Pro Stack kit. See, it's got this diamond pattern and the corresponding diamond pattern on the blocks, which lock it into that pad. And then you're supposed to throw this grip pad on top, and then you put your square pad on top of this as such that it doesn't flatten out the diamonds and render them ineffective. So anyhow, we'll pack this up, take it back to the shop, because that half of the project is donezo. So getting some pretty good production now out of this setup. I would say he's probably pumping at about 70 to 80 cubic meters an hour. So as the mix changed and the slump got a little better, we were able to wind her up. She's hammering down pretty good. You guys are hammering it down, eh? Better slump, different mix, right? Not nearly as sticky. Like I said, it always seems to be the way it goes. First few loads of the day are a little bit dry. Probably the first couple guys are a little bit skittish until they get their tests taken on the first couple loads. And then after that, I kind of know where they stand, and usually the slumps get better throughout the day. Usually, ideally. Do a pose. Do one of these. Put the arm out. He doesn't know. The classic hose man posture. Yeah, this setup is working now. What we did here, because we're right at 3 degrees, I tried to keep the heavy sections as vertical as possible to keep as much torque as possible off of that turning gear. Like I said, we are within spec, but I'm still not super enthused about it, shall we say. What's the plan for blowout? Break off at the gate valve and then blow it back? Or do you break off at the gate valve and blow it forward?
We're just going to pump it forward. There's a bunch of area there that slowly kind of spreading.
Okay, so we'll put the cap on the hard line and blow it through. Right. Mike had a very good point there. Because Sid's pump is now finished, and his mixers were all facing uphill and they had to climb the hill to get to the pump. Due to worries of spilling, they were keeping it a little drier. But Corey's pump here, which is feeding into Mike's placing boom, they're now all coming in downhill, so they're not nearly as concerned about the slump. Mike's a smart guy. All right, so we got a blow cap, we got a couple sponges. I've taken one sponge and I found some plastic on site. Grocery bags work great too, plastic grocery bags. I'm gonna wrap this up in poly, tie it up, The reason why I'm going to do that, these foam sponges, especially when they're new, they have a tendency that air can pass through them. The first little bit of air gets into the pipeline. You can actually push that sponge back, push it right back to the end of the blowout cap, which is why we have this secondary bleeder port here. If that sponge does happen to get pushed back, you can crack this one open, bleed the air off, because your sponge has been pushed against this primary air port, and otherwise you'd have a bunch of air trapped in the cap. So, but yeah, what the plastic does is it seals the sponge up. There's no chance for the air to get past it. So on the first sponge we do that, in my opinion, having the plastic on the ball, it doesn't clean the pipe quite as well, but that doesn't matter. The first round is just about pushing all the mass of concrete out of the pipes, and then we'll get it squeaky clean with the water sponge on the second round. So that's how we do it. The other way would just be to use a rubberized orange foam ball. Problem with those is you lose them and they're worth a little bit more money than these, but you know, to each their own. So on the placing booms, we usually do use the square sponges. And make sure if you have a blowout cap, it has a secondary bleeder port. The closer to the end of the cap, to the clamp flange, the better. You need to have enough space that you can house a sponge between your primary and secondary bleeder port. So, and just to confirm how we're going to do this, stop the pump, hammer this gate valve closed, disconnect the hose with the air cuff pinching the hose off. There's about 6 feet of hose full of concrete that's going to drip on the ground. It is what it is. Dig some concrete out of that pipe, stuff the sponge in, put the cap on, turn the air on just a little bit so there's a little bit of pressure pushing on it, and with that little bit of pressure we'll open that gate valve back up again, as such that when it's open, the sponge can start pushing the concrete ahead through the pipeline, and we're going to blow it right out the end of the boom. So it's going to be great, I promise. All right, we got the last load going into the slab here. And then whatever is left in the system, we're going to pump out in that corner that's low, and we'll pump it out around that sump box there too. And dismantle and blow out. So we'll check in when we're onto the blowout here. The total apparently is 982 cubic meters for everything. So I don't know what that is in yards, around 1,200 yards, something like that. All right, time to clean out. So we're gonna bust that clamp off. Corey has the airbag turned on there, the air cuff. I don't know that the air cuff is gonna pinch that hose off. I feel like it's not. Mike's gonna hammer the shut off closed.
I'm gonna use that
Need a bigger hammer or what?
nice.
Be easier if you weren't so tall. You get a more direct line of fire at it.
Your arms might have been good.
I was gonna say, if you weren't 5'10"1/4, it would be easier. Mike likes to make short jokes because he's 1 3/4 inches taller than me. But seriously, a bigger hammer would actually be quite handy here. Pretty self-explanatory how this gate valve works. Also known as a guillotine valve. I don't think that bag is going to pinch that hose shut, so because I believe that's a wire braided hose. So we're going to learn something today, that the airbag may not pinch a wire braided hose. I love these fabric air cuffs. They're way better than the original hard shell style. But the hard shell style, I found anyhow, had a lot more clamping force on the hose. they also tended to wear the hose out a lot faster than these ones do. I actually find with these fabric ones, they don't really wear the hose out any faster than just pinching it over and putting a rope on it, old school style. So this will be like a jack in the box here, busting this open. See how much of it actually goes in the bag. Hey Mike, you might want to come down a bit. He's picking the pipe up a little. There you go. Perfect. Perfecto. Here comes the mess. Hopefully not, but probably so. By God, it worked. It actually pinched it shut. Well, there we go. The Conforms fabric air cuff with the regulator set to the full 100 psi will successfully pinch off a wire braided 5-inch hose. Amazing.
Literally, if you just lift your fourth and tuck underneath you with your fifth, you'll hit it.
So what do you want to do? Are we going to dig it out by hand, or you want to spin it down and drain it out, or what do you think?
Just take it out by hand.
Dig it out by hand? What a guy. Oh, I forgot to, I was going to tie that plastic around the bag and I forgot. I got sidetracked. That's better. These slings are here for a reason, so I might as well use them. Like I said, Mike will swing over, we'll drain the boom out, and bang, bang, bang. All right, so what's the plan? Crack the air a little bit, then bang that valve open?
Yes, sir. Wash my hammer.
Just a little bit of air pressure on there as such that when that valve opens back up, you don't have concrete pushing the sponge back. Hey Mike, did you open the valve on the compressor? I don't think there's air on that. There's not. There we go. Give it a little. Perfect, just something like that. Go. Give her a little tap, see if we got any progress. There we go. I'll tap it if you want to do the air. Or if you want to tap it, whatever. So I'm going to keep this air. little bit high until we're through this horizontal run of pipe. And then once we get up into the vertical, I'll bleed it back down again. There we go, that's the happy sound. And I'll go back down here. I'll trade Mike's spots. We're right to the base. I'll let you feather it now. I'll take the hammer. Yeah, we should be through to the base here now. Yes, we are. So that should be coming up and over and up and down. Where is my Mr. Sponge? Back there, just feathering the air. It's not any more dramatic than it needs to be at the discharge end here. Oh, here she comes. Here she comes. Just got to be patient with this. You don't want to rush something like this. Not the time to be in a hurry. Done. And our sponge is going to be buried. I'm going to try and retrieve that actually. Let's see if we can find this. All right, let's see if we can find this. Oh, maybe not. This is a job for a long 2x4. Look what I got. One sponge in a bag. I'm too cheap to waste a perfectly good sponge like that. Beauty. As you can see, try and get the camera up in here. As you can kind of see, pipes are cleanish, but not fantastic. So he's going to do another run there of sponge, water, sponge, and this thing will be spotless. One thing I hate about blowing out this way, all the crap you get on all the splatter on the boom. So we got a brush. We'll take care of that before we fold this thing up. Anyhow, that'll be it for today. Another 1,000 meters in the books. I think that's the last big core footing on this pour here. So onwards and upwards. Once again, like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. Oh, one more thing. I'm gonna be flying out. It just so happened to work out that this is a Tuesday, happened today. It's supposed to go on Friday. That being said, guess who's going to Con Expo? So Dan and I are flying out Thursday morning at 6 a.m. We're going to go down there for 2 full days, fly back late Friday night. Almost like a concrete pumping bender, if you want to call it that. So we'll be sending out, hopefully, lots of footage, lots of content from Con Expo. Super excited about that. There's some really cool stuff that I want to see down there. I know LeBaire has their new 36 XXT on display. It wasn't at World of Concrete, but it will be at Con Expo. So I'm super excited about that one. I know Dyka's got a couple new products as well. Yeah, there should be some good stuff down there. So anyhow, one last like, share, subscribe, and we'll catch you from Vegas in a couple days here.